This ATE VW Challenge action is proudly brought to you by ATE and the club's associated sponsors. It's the opening round of the season, and of course we start things out at the arena of motorsport, Zwartkops Raceway. Challenging conditions, super hot on the qualifying day, and as we go into race day, a little bit chilly. We catch up with some of the drivers.
Yeah, exciting. Great to be back in VW Challenge for 2025. The weather's really nice and cool around here, overcast, so yeah, should line us all up for a great day of racing. Expectations for the year is travel around to the country's best tracks that we have, enjoy the time with the people and have some good, close, intense racing as always. Yes, ATE is the primary sponsors, I believe now, yes, for VW Challenge this year. Very kind of them to supply us all with a nice set of front discs and brake pads to help us out through the year. On board with some other sponsors, but yeah, great to see them still with VW. I think the 4 years I've been in VW Challenge, there's always been ATE stickers on the vehicles. That's a good one. Obviously, he's going to hate me for this. We all want to beat Stuart Mack, last year's champion in Class B, but it changes all the time from track to track. Some guys are a lot quicker at others at the high, long speed tracks. Some are a little bit more nimble at the shorter tracks. So it's never a given who's going to be first, second, or third generally, which I think is part of the excitement in the race as well. And also to stay in it. To finish also helps as well. You can be super fast but lose it on a corner in lap 3 and then you're out for the rest of the race. So yeah, definitely lap time speed for the fast guys, but my department being consistent and finishing the races and hope for the best.
And it wouldn't be a start to a season if you don't already chat to the reigning champ.
That still sounds weird, by the way. I still can't get used to some people saying that, and it doesn't felt real, to be honest. But yeah, a great year last year, best year ever, unbelievable results. The only goal we can do this year is to do the same. See if we can back it up and make sure it wasn't a fluke, and see if we can do the same we did last year. It's going to be tougher, no doubt, because challenge is always tough, but we'll try our best and see how it goes. Yeah, because very interesting conditions for this time of the year, because usually we're dying of heat, and yesterday we were absolutely dying of heat, and today it's overcast and gloomy and chilly, which I'm not upset about because the turbocharged car loves cool weather, but as long as it stays dry, because I hate driving in the rain. So let's hope continues to be overcast and cool. Great for AT to step up from just being an associate sponsor to a mainline sponsor. Their brakes, we developed with them for a few years now, and they're fantastic. They last really, really well. AT come to the party and give all Class B and Class C competitors a free set of brakes and discs for the year to start the year off. So really is great for them, and they're great products, and they really work very well.
Very important part now as we head into qualifying. A tough track to overtake on, so setup, pre-season testing was all going to come down to this, the first time attack of the season. The A classes were expected to roll out and give us the fastest times of the day, but very competitive times and racing throughout classes A, B and C in what would be their transition season. Throughout the year, we're going to see more and more of the turbos. This time out though, it was going to be Jaden Goosen who would potentially try and see what he could do, but times were very close as Masters went to the top of Class A, Mac to the top of B and Kutsia to the top of C. We chatted to a few drivers after their qualifying runs.
It was a bit rough. It's a new car, so I'm still busy with the setup on the car, and yeah, it's got a bit of a misfire, so we need to find out what's happening there. But otherwise, it didn't go too bad. So yeah, we'll see how the race goes. Yeah, there's a few new rules with the engine changes to the 1-liter turbos. I'm still old school, running the 8-valve. Might change it later the year. So yeah, we'll see what happens during the year with the new changes and the new rules and how the cars compete against each other.
How's it going?
Let's chat to Philip Cruiser from ATE.
Seems I'm fourth. It was a bit difficult with one of our guys going off in turn 5, so we had double waved yellows for most of the session. So he couldn't push too hard up there, but I guess that didn't stop everybody. It's a very long-standing relationship. They came in as a sponsor, I think, in 2014. They've developed a brake pad specifically for us, so all our Class Bs and Class Cs race on the same ATE brake pad. So I think that sort of relationship is very important to me, where you work together with a sponsor to develop product. Me, I'm just hoping to have fun. It's all about having fun.
And after a quick check of the results, Class C pole goes to Mitch Kutsia.
Well, I was hoping to put it on pole and managed to do it. I qualified pole in an 18.98 and the guy in second place, Adrian De Beers, in a 19.03. So it's pretty close. I think it's going to be an exciting day's racing. And there's a new, well, not new to racing, but new to our class, a guy called Stuart Koenig. He's third on the grid, bit of an unknown factor, so I think it's going to be quite an exciting day.
Race 1 ready to go, drivers in their cars.
Well, here we go for race 1, our first official race of the season. Hoping for the best and got to cross the checker flag first. Thanks a lot, guys.
This is my second season in Challenge, so for this season my focus is just to unlock some more lap time. So I know there's still some time in this guy. I need to find my rhythm and obviously learn from our class champion here.
So out of pre-race and all the drivers getting themselves nice and locked and loaded. The sky's still a little bit grey, but no promises of rain, but definitely some cool conditions to go racing in as the drivers would make their way through. Shakedown lap to make sure the track is in mint condition, as it always is here at Zwartkops, the arena of motorsport. Separation on the grid as well, so the Class A's having right around a row of grids between themselves. Top of the charts would be Masters and see what the guys can do. Masters and Ross on the front row. Mac and Aldrich would be banging bars going into turn number 1, and the big fight was going to be Class C, Kutsia and De Beer. 10 laps of racing action for the opening round and the opening race of the ATE VW Challenge in 2025. Time to get twitchy as the boards go sideways. Again, still cool conditions, so the drivers would have been thinking about getting their tire pressure absolutely perfect on that Dunlop rubber to go on out there and attack the track for 10 laps of racing. A good pull away on the gate coming off Masters, so it looked like he was going to be able to get the cheese going into turn number 1 and leave the rest of the pack to try and figure things out. A nice run of the Class C's with 3 abreast as they went out there, and we'd expect to see the closest combat coming in from the Class C's. No issues in turn 1 and a hold of breath as all the cars just squeaked their way around and through turn number 2. Everyone's still on the black stuff, and that is great news as we head into a brand new full season of racing. Looking backwards from Jaden Person, one of the top runners in the Class A's, trying to see what he can do about closing things down. He gets the line up the inside of Elner Cruiser. Remember, Jaden, the man we're on board with, running the 2-litre turbo. And this is going to be a story we'll watch throughout the rest of the championship racing tour. The B's and C's starting to find their groove now as well as the track is coming to them. Zwartkops in prime condition as we go forward into the rest of the day's racing. Mac battling a little bit there, so the reigning champion trying to see what he can do about figure things out. A lot of guys running a brand new version of their vehicles. You can see them spreading out at the top of the hill there in the Class C battle, trying to find their way up into the top 4. The top 3 in Class C looking absolutely spectacular. It's Adrian De Beer in the bright red car with the black bonnet. He's getting chased down by Mitch Kutsia and Koenig as everyone else starts to find their feet and understand how the setup goes. This is just the end of lap number 1, and this is where the race really starts to begin. And coming out of turn number 2, that's another scalp coming in from Jaden Person. He's the man on the move at the moment. He got through on Cruiser at the previous lap. Now that is Judd Berthold getting sent 1 position back. That means that is now a number 2 spot for Person, chasing up to the back wheel of the pole setter, Wayne Masters. And that turbo car is delivering the goods right now. Going back and picking up on the B's, there is Mac, the B1, the reigning champion, doing a very good job indeed. In fact, getting close to getting to the back wheel of some of the Class A's as well. Mac is on the move right now, running the numbers in the Class B's on the AutoZone machine. The reigning champion delivering the goods. Incredible pace up the hill there. He closed something like 4 car lengths on the back wheel of Elner Cruiser, and he's going to be in the mix from here on out. And he's going to send the rest of the guys in Class B's way to the back of the pack as they just cannot hang with the speed of the reigning champ. Very exciting as we come to the end of lap number 2. 8 laps remaining in this incredible first race of the ATE VW Challenge in 2025. By now, the Dunlop rubber is at absolutely perfect temperature, and you're going to see the times and the racing start to tumble and heat up as we go through the racing. Focusing now on the leader in the Class B's as he gets onto the tail of the leading Class A's. Stewie Mack in great form at the moment. His closest competition on the track is going to be interesting, but we're going to switch back to the lead in the Class A's and the lead overall, as Kruisen has now got onto the back wheel of Masters. There goes Mack with the red bonnet on his AutoZone vehicle, as we try and see who is going to get onto his back wheel. Looks like there's going to be a second place fight developing between Lessing, Aldrich and Davidson to see who is going to be standing on which position on the final steps of the podium. And there is De Beer. We chatted to him at the beginning of the race. It looks like he is getting closed down by Zafirio. These guys are trying to see what they can do about closing in on the top 3 runners in the Class C's. This is race leader in the Class C's, Adrian De Beer, doing a fantastic job as he gets himself ahead of Mitch Coetzee. Remember, Coetzee was the fastest qualifier, so he's got something in his back pocket, and he may be building pace as they now both start to stretch away from Koenig. Koenig had a problem on that previous lap, and now it's a 2-horse race out front for the Class C's. We stay with those guys as they sweep through the impressive, almost top speed, top gear switch into turn number 1 here at Zwartkops. An incredible corner. Off camber pushes the drivers to the outside as we pick up on Dean Ross. He's trying to see what he can do. Dino trying to figure things out on the track. Still, a lot of these drivers so early in the season trying to find the sweet spot set up on their vehicles as they go lap through lap. Remember, conditions yesterday in qualifying extremely warm, and then today definitely a little bit cooler. That's going to change the setup on those vehicles. Big dice here as we start to see Mitch closing things down on De Beer. The C11 is going to be living in his mirrors for the remainder of this race. Koenig also starting to look over his shoulder as Peterson starts to close him down as well. So big dicing happening, and as the drivers get more comfortable with the braking and the traction, you can see Mitch very good at the top of the shelf there. That's the massive braking zone as we start to see a change for the 3 spot in the Class C's. Peterson now coming on and building up the pressure on Koenig. Outside, inside, a lovely section, and it's who can be the bravest and who can position their car the best on the brakes at the moment. Koenig in the grey and yellow vehicle up the inside. He is going to get the move there, so he retains that number 3 spot, but Peterson is piling on the pressure, should have the line up the inside. Good drive going into turn number 1, parks it up the inside, and he's just going to slowly fade across to the right-hand side and block that line. He sits right in the middle, forces Koenig to figure things out, and he takes the cover line. That's going to give him a slow exit out of turn number 2, but he has the position, and he can now control the line. That was a fantastic move from Peterson, and you can see he's just living on the inside of the line. As up front there, finally, we see the move. That is going to be for the race lead in the Class C's, as Mitch Coetzee has found that rhythm, found that groove, and found the confidence in his machine. The number 6 car comes to the front, and that is now a change of lead in the Class C's, and he also has to do what Peterson just did, which is cover the inside line after the move is done. De Beer will have a chance to try and sweep around the outside, but you're going to see a mid-line here. No, he stays to the outside, so confident that he's going to be able to run and hide. Remember, Coetzee just squeaked the fastest time in the Class C's coming out of qualifying, so that's going to be an interesting one. Masters still living on at the moment, but for how long? Because Jaden Kruisen has been setting very strong lap times. Good on the brakes. Masters, though, has got a lot of experience around this circuit. Been racing for decades, so he knows how to absorb pressure like this. But the young blood of motorsport coming through, also in the new version of the vehicle, a 1400 turbo vehicle, so the power will come in a slightly different manner, and Kruisen is closer than he ever has been throughout this race, and it's starting to look like it's going to happen. Kruisen moves to the inside into turn number 1. Masters round the outside. That was very close. Kruisen had to come out of that, and Masters is going to cover the inside line. A lapped car is going to come into play here. This is going to be a situation because that car is getting eaten up very quickly. Kruisen up the inside, Masters around the outside, and it looks like the lapper will stay on the inside lane, but both of them have to just squeeze in. That lapper had elbows in, and Kruisen is going to be coming out on top. He's got the line, and it's a brave line. The front wheels were moving around a little bit there up the inside of turn number 4. They climb the hill, and Hurston looks like he's got just enough done, fades across under braking, and will cover the line. Masters goes for the big dive up the inside. He's going to climb the curbs. He is 2 wheels up on the inside there, and this is going to be formation flying. Hurston will rail the outside, Masters up the inside, but what turns right turns left, and Hurston looks like he's going to be good enough to cover that line. That was an amazing sequence of corners that was set up from turn 3, 4, all the way through the shelf, and now finally we confirm the move is done and it is stuck. We've got a new race leader. Hurston crosses the line to lead for the very first time. That was an incredible half lap of racing to understand who was going to be leading into the second half of this race. The Class A's have certainly found their groove, and they have dropped the rest of the field like a hot potato. Third place is a long way off, something like 5 seconds. There is confirmation, just that blur in the foreground. That was Berthold coming through, confirming his number 3 spot as we go on board with Hurston. Nice sweep through turn number 3. Masters good on the brakes into turn number 4. This is where you get all of your drive up the hill. This will be the difference between naturally aspirated and the turbo vehicles. Masters carrying great pace up the top, but a late twitch to the right hand side, and Masters goes a long way around the outside. That's a bold move. So he caught the youngster trying to cover the inside line, and Masters trying to do the big fight around the outside. This is great racing. Brilliant line choices, different strategy, and do or die as well, because this is the last lap as we head to turn number 8, the final corner here at the Arena of Motorsport. Zwartkops delivering the goods at the opening round of the ATE VW Challenge, and it is going to be Hurston that takes first blood, beating out on Masters and giving us some spectacular racing. If this is how good it's going to go, race number 2 is going to be off the charts. Cody Peterson takes a number 7 in Class C's, and just behind them is going to be our race leader in the B's. Stewie Mack confirms that he is the champ and cements that number 1 spot once again. And in the C's, Mitch Kutsia gets the job done, stays ahead of Adrian de Beer, but these two were all over each other and definitely the class of the field. Race number 2 is going to be an interesting one, but this time around, it's the pole setter in the C's, Kutsia, that gets the job done. 10 laps under the belt for all of the crews as we confirm the results. Jaden Hurston gets the win ahead of Masters and Berthold, with Elna Cruiser in 4th and Dean Ross in 5th. That was for our Class A's. In the Class B's, confirmation of the reigning champion, Stewie Mack getting the win ahead of Lessing. Good run from Lessing to come through ahead of Aldrich, Davidson and De Beer. And in the Class C's, we just saw them cross the line. Mitch Kutsia and Adrian de Beer, the class of the field. Carl Pedersen confirmed he got the number 3 spot ahead of Philip Cruiser, and Zafirio got a number 5. Down in Park Vermey, let's catch up with Class C winner, Kutsia.
Yeah, my start was a bit of a mess up. I was on pole, but then I must have fluffed the start. I thought I had a decent start, but when I looked, Adrian was up my inside. So he led the race for 3 or 4 laps. We had good, clean racing. I felt I had the pace on him, but once I passed him, he managed to stick with me. So he kept me honest. It was a tough, hard race, and I'm just glad to have won it.
And the winner of Class A.
Oh, it was a hectic race. Wayne Masters gave me a run for my money during like 60% of the race, but luckily I passed him, and he stuck by me, but it was very close. Well, we're hoping to take the championship in Class A this year. We've been practicing a lot in the car, getting the setup right, so our expectations is for taking the championship in Class A.
And Stuart Mack taking Class B.
Good way to start off a year like we ended off last year. Good way to show off the new sponsors with AutoZone and Tour Plan. Good to have them on the car for the year, and good to show them a good result first time out. Yeah.
Later on in the afternoon, and that little bit of coolth from the morning is gone. Starting to pump with the temperatures. That's going to change things up. And one man missing in action, Anthony Lessing, a no-show on the start. So that's going to open up positions in the Class B challenge at the moment. Right now, drop of the hammer, another 10-lapper. We're going to see if it's going to be Hurston or Masters that get the job done. This time around, Hurston gets a flyer off the line, and it's going to be up to Masters to do the big chase down. And also a much better start for Mitch Kutsia. He's going to see clear air as the track will start to open up. Love it in lap number 1, where all the A's, B's and C's are all over each other. Zafirio, much better start this time around. Keep an eye on that yellow vehicle. But just ahead of him, it does look like, I think that's Carl Peterson having problems. He had a great run in the first racing heat, but the 43 car limping around, and and that's going to also blow open the chances of everyone else in the Class Cs. So watch out for Zaffirio, Cruiser and Smith to be able to try and benefit from that one. There's Dino Smith. He's got a sniff of maybe challenging and breaking his way into the top 5 as Koenig gets squeezed to the right-hand side. That was an interesting one where Adrian de Beer was pushing him all the way to the right-hand side. You can see much more aggressive racing coming out of race number 2. Koenig in the Northern Bolt and Tool machine getting it done. Martin de Beer up there trying to challenge his way inside of a top 5 for the Class Bs as everyone threads the needle down the hill to see what they can do. Everyone's still feeling their way around. Lap number 1 of a 10-lapper, and the heat is coming up. 1, 2, and 3 as they cross the line in heat number 2, and they're going to see if they can change up those positions. Right now, everyone trying to understand. A little bit of a hop and a pop there for Martin de Beer in the 199. A little bit of clear air for him. Race leader now, and we couldn't say that in heat number 1, but race number 2, it is Jaden Person who has got control of this as they go onto the back straight for the second time of asking. Masters is a master at outbraking though. We saw him try to do that move at the top of the hill. We'll see if he's got something up his sleeve that time. There's Mac, our race leader in the Class Bs. He should be able to run and hide, and it does look like a nice aggressive start to everyone out there. In the Bs, that is De Beer, and another De Beer is doing the chase down in the Class Cs. But look at the gap that Mitch Kutsia has got already. We focus in on the reigning champion, the B1 of Mac, and once again, he is running the numbers. But this time around, Aldrich, Davidson, and De Beer are a little bit closer, and they're doing some very good learning to understand what the champ does to get the job done. Down the hill, and I love this braking position. This is where you can really throw the car in. These guys will get it down to second gear. They'll go all the way to the outside of the curb. Sometimes they'll touch the grass, and that is a little bit risky, but you've got to keep those tires nice and clean. The Dunlop rubber hooking up absolutely perfectly now as the race has found its groove and found its rhythm. The A's have separated themselves from the B's, and the C's are doing all they can do to get the job done. Great result here and a fantastic drive coming in for Francis Aldrich, the 168, running much closer this time around to Mac. We go back and pick up on the leaders though, as they have separated themselves from the field. There goes little Berthold. He's doing a good job in the number 3 spot, and everyone is now stretching out. There goes race leader in the Bs. The battle is going to start to build up between Aldrich and Davidson. Davidson in the Car Care Clinic machine in the number 3 spot at the moment. Both of those cars chasing down, and you can see that it is not all his way. This is a big dice happening for the number 1 spot, Gerson and Masters. And Masters is keeping the kid very honest as we close in on the halfway marker of this race. Gerson, absolutely fantastic, but watch Masters. He is the king on the brakes. Sweeps around the outside of turn number 2, possibly gonna get a good run right on the bumper, almost bump drafting NASCAR style, as they go onto the back straight. That's where you've got the highest speeds out here at Zwartkops. Mac has started to stretch away. Aldrich also stretching away from Davidson. It looks like the 1, 2, and 3 in Class B is solidified as everyone starts to understand how they are going to now maintain their pace for the rest of the race. A little bit of a wag of the tail there for Davidson as he tried to hold numbers. Go back and pick up on the Class Cs, where once again, Mitch Kutsia got a good run going, made the pass and was clear, but look at this, it's closing up. De Beer is now starting to join the party in the bright red number 11, and this is now going to be a fight. Looks like Kutsia maybe had a problem on that previous lap because he lost a lot of time. Go on board inside Jaden Person, our race leader in the Class A's and overall, as he starts to get busy on the wheel. You can see how much work they do inside of the cockpit, hammering the gearbox on these VW Polos and working the wheel as hard as you possibly can. A long run that was through turn number 1, one of the most technical turns on the Zwartkops circuit. 1 and 2 remain as they are, and they have completely gapped number 3 spot. Still looks like a number 3 coming in for Judd Berthold, as he has now gapped himself ahead of the chasers in Class A for Ross and Crozer. Zaffirio doing a much better job this time around. Big improvements, 4th place, but a distant 4th place, but a massive improvement from heat number 1 to heat number 2 to get himself into that position. Definitely found the sweet spot on his car, and we'll be keeping an eye on Zaffirio. That's Dimitri on the wheel on the 24 machine as he starts to understand how to get the best out of the setup on his Insure Risk Polo. At the moment, staying ahead of Philip Cruiser and Dino Smit. Those guys doing the chase down, trying to get back onto the pace. Ahead of them, Mitch Coetzee, De Beer and Stuart Koenig are gone. This is the battle for fourth place, and this is the battle for the race lead and the Class A's, as once again they start coming up on the slower traffic. The slower traffic, I believe, is going to be a massive factor, as it was in race number 1. So this is where experience comes into play. That plays into the wheelhouse of Wayne Masters. He'll be looking through the entire car, through the back windscreen and the front windscreen, and trying to see what is happening out there. Do they go inside? Do they go outside? And where does that lapper go? Probably going to stay on the racing line, and that will mean our race leaders will sweep around the outside, trying to understand as we close in on the final lap of the race. This is going to be an interesting one. They are through traffic. Goosen has made the pass clean. They hold station. So well done to that lapper, keeping the elbows in nicely to allow Goosen and Masters to continue the race for the final lap of asking. Now, race number 1 was where Masters did a do or die at the top of the hill. We'll keep an eye on second place. Is he close enough to get a bit of a draft up the top there? As we get into the braking markers at the 100 meter, watch for Goosen to fade across to the right hand side. He goes right down the middle, and that's Masters. Again, doesn't know where to go, just goes as deep as he dares. Definitely closed up, but we are running out of rubber, running out of road. A little nose up the inside, going into 2 corners to go. This is the final turn, the penultimate turn of the track, and Goosen still good enough to control the line and control the race. And still in the number 1 spot. It's going to be 2 for 2 for Goosen, as he's done an incredible drive at the opening round of the ATE VW Challenge in 2025. A solid number 2 spot for Masters once again. As we go back and pick up on Stuart Mack, he hasn't been closed down. It looks like he did ease off a little bit in those final laps, but Stuart Mack is going to go 1 for 1 and take B, race 1 and race 2. With Francois Aldrich just in the background there. He's going to solidify his second place on the day, and it's going to be Chris Davison in a number 3 spot. Then all we've got to do is wrap up on the C's, where once again Mitch Coetzee is in control of the race, but Dimitri Zafirio, biggest improvement on the second race. But here's confirmation of Mitch in the white and purple machine, staying ahead of Arjun De Beer. This is going to be a fantastic championship. Those guys have marked each other at round number 1 here at Zwartkops, with Koenig in a solid number 3. All the cars then making their way through the cool-down lap. Those tyres and brakes worked super hard. Here's a confirmation of the race win in the Class A's and overall, going to Goosen ahead of Masters and Berthold, with Ross and Cruiser in a 4 and 5. Class B's, the king of the B's has been Mack on the first day of racing, ahead of Aldrich, Davidson, De Beer and Lessing, losing points with a no-show in the second racing heat. For the Class C's, it's been domination by Mitch Coetzee, but De Beer has been the closest rival and will be his closest rival on the championship.
Wayne was putting a lot of pressure on me during the race. He just decides I'm going to dive bomb here or I'm going to dive bomb there. So I decided I'm just going to drive in the middle of the track and hopefully not get a pass on the outside or on the inside. So, yeah.
And a solid number 2 for the day for Wayne Masters from Performance Masters.
Yeah, no, this second race was great, but it shows how close the BOP is, because I think if the roles were reversed, he wouldn't be able to get past me. But I couldn't. I tried everything to get past him, and he defended well, and it was good, clean racing. But I pushed as hard as I could to get past him, and I wasn't able to do it. But it just shows the cars are neck on neck, turbo versus the NA car. No, that's fantastic. I mean, because ATE, this is the platform for them to showcase their product. They've been a sponsor for a couple of years, but now they're a series title sponsor. And it's brilliant because it's a great brake pad, and all the Class B's use them and Class C's. So it's very good for the challenge.
And the most improved driver on the day, Zafirio.
So today I just kept my head. Kylie made a mistake and I came past him. Car's running well. I'm very grateful for my team, Dion, and the guys that worked on the cars. Just an awesome day.
And to Francis Aldrich, second in Class B.
Yes, no, it's been a good day. We thoroughly enjoyed it. So the car's been treating us well. No major issues. So with that working, it's obviously you can just focus on driving it better. So Obviously want to thank my dad for his help. I want to thank Vaporworks for helping. And then of course for our category we've got ATE, who's our big new sponsor. So thanks to them, Dunlop, Origin Oil and all of the rest of the sponsors of the series.
And for the 2025 championship in the ATE VW Challenge, it's Mitch Kutsia that leads ahead of Adrian De Beer, with Stuart Mack in third, Jaden Gerson in fourth, and Wayne Masters in a number 5. Join us next time for round number 2 racing action at Kyalami on the 11th of April. All this ATE VW Challenge action is proudly brought to you by ATE and the club's associated sponsors.